Have you ever faced a moment where your character is questioned and your integrity is put to the test? Imagine being a kind-hearted teenager helping an elderly neighbor, only to find yourself wrongly accused. Today's video tells the gripping story of Jamal, whose simple act of kindness turns into a dramatic ordeal. Stick around to see how Jamal confronts suspicion, clears his name, and learns powerful lessons about trust and resilience. Don't miss this moving journey that highlights the true impact of standing up for what is right. Jamal had always been known for his immense kindness and compassionate heart. It was a part of who he was, a quality that was evident in every action he took. On that particular afternoon, as he walked home from school, he noticed Mrs. Clark, a frail and elderly woman with silver hair and a gentle demeanor, struggling with her television set in her front yard. The frustration on her face was palpable as she tried unsuccessfully to get the screen to light up. Despite knowing he had responsibilities waiting for him at home, taking care of his younger siblings who relied on him for support and care, Jamal couldn't bring himself to walk away. His heart went out to the elderly woman, and he felt an overwhelming urge to assist her. With a warm and reassuring smile, he approached Mrs. Clark and offered his help. "Let me help you with that, Mom," he said, his voice filled with sincerity and eagerness to make a difference. Mrs. Clark's face, marked by both years and kindness, softened with relief as she accepted Jamal's offer. She invited him into her modest home, and as he began to examine and fix the malfunctioning TV, the atmosphere between them became warm and conversational. They chatted about various topics, sharing stories and laughter, and Jamal's presence seemed to brighten Mrs. Clark's day considerably. However, what Jamal couldn't have anticipated was that this seemingly simple act of kindness would set off a series of events that would profoundly impact his life. The very next day, his peaceful routine was disrupted when Mrs. Clark arrived at his home, accompanied by the police. Jamal was left bewildered and anxious as he faced a situation that none of his previous experiences had prepared him for. The kindness he had extended, meant to be a small gesture of goodwill, had unintentionally spiraled into a situation fraught with unforeseen consequences. Mrs. Clark regaled Jamal with tales from her life, weaving a rich tapestry of her past experiences. With a warm and reflective tone, she shared fragments of her history, giving him a window into her world. For 30 years, she had dedicated herself to the art of teaching, passionately imparting knowledge to elementary school children. Her stories were brimming with vivid anecdotes and amusing incidents from her extensive career as an educator. She recounted moments that brought laughter and joy, mentioning names of former students that Jamal recognized, adding a personal touch to her narratives. As Mrs. Clark spoke, Jamal was captivated by her reminiscences. The way she described her experiences offered him a unique perspective, allowing him to see the world through the eyes of a teacher rather than just as a student. Her passion and dedication were evident in every word, and Jamal was genuinely absorbed in her tales. "What did you mostly teach?" Jamal inquired, eager to learn more about her experiences. "Primarily 3rd grade," she replied, her eyes lighting up with a nostalgic glint. Those years were filled with vibrant energy and endless curiosity. I had the pleasure of watching many of my students grow and thrive, embarking on their successful journeys. It has been one of the greatest joys of living in this community for so long. Jamal reflected on the profound impact Mrs. Clark must have had on her students. The thought of being such a pivotal figure in their lives was truly inspiring. He reminisced about his teachers and the influence they had on him, recognizing that Mrs. Clark had been far more than just a teacher. She had been a mentor, a guide, and a source of inspiration for countless young minds. After they had repaired the TV, Mrs. Clark offered Jamal a glass of freshly made lemonade. They settled comfortably on the porch, savoring the pleasant warmth of the afternoon. As they chatted, Mrs. Clark's voice took on a thoughtful tone. "You know, Jamal," she said with genuine sincerity, "it's young people like you who instill hope in me for the future. Your kindness and thoughtfulness today have made a significant difference in my life. It's moments like these that remind me of the impact we can have on each other." As Jamal walked back home, a gentle warmth spread through his heart. The simple act of helping Mrs. Clark had been a small gesture, but it had brought a shared sense of joy between them. Little did he know that this seemingly insignificant act of kindness would set in motion a chain of events that would soon take an unexpected turn and alter the course of his life in ways he could never have imagined. If you are still watching this video and find these stories useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Upon arriving home, Jamal was greeted by the lively sounds of laughter and the familiar clatter of dishes coming from the kitchen. His younger siblings, Aisha and Malik, were sprawled on the living room floor, engrossed in a game that sent their delighted giggles echoing through the house. Their happiness was a comforting backdrop to the end of his day. In the kitchen, his mother, Mrs. Washington, stood by the stove, diligently preparing dinner after a grueling shift at the hospital. The rich, savory aroma of her renowned chicken stew wafted through the air, enveloping the house in a sense of warmth and familiarity. It was a scent that never failed to bring him solace and a feeling of home. "Hey, Mom," Jamal called out as he dropped his backpack by the door and made his way into the kitchen. He enveloped his mother in a quick, affectionate hug. "How was work today?" Mrs. Washington's face, etched with the lines of fatigue, softened into a tired but genuine smile for her eldest son. "It was a long day, but I'm managing," she replied, her voice tinged with exhaustion yet filled with resilience. Jamal's days were no less demanding. After school, he typically went straight to his part-time job at the grocery store, where he spent hours stocking shelves and assisting customers until late in the afternoon. On weekends, he took on extra tasks like mowing lawns and performing odd jobs for neighbors to earn a bit more money. Despite the relentless demands on his time and energy, he never voiced a complaint. To him, it was a necessary effort to support his family and alleviate some of the burdens on his mother. After his siblings were tucked in for the night, Jamal would often stay up late into the evening, poring over his studies. His ambition to attend college, with dreams of possibly becoming an engineer, fueled his perseverance. The thought of making his mother proud and providing a better life for Aisha and Malik was his constant motivation, driving him to push through fatigue and stay focused on his goals. The following morning, the Washington household was abuzz with its usual routine. Jamal was getting ready for school, helping Aisha and Malik with their backpacks while Mrs. Washington busied herself with preparing breakfast. The familiar cadence of their daily life was abruptly disrupted by the shrill wail of sirens approaching their street, cutting through the morning calm and signaling the beginning of an unforeseen and unsettling change. Jamal's gaze shifted to the window, his heart racing as he saw 2 police cruisers pull up in front of their house. His breath caught in his throat, and he felt a jolt of anxiety. Unable to ignore the unsettling sight, Jamal stepped outside to investigate. As soon as he emerged onto the porch, he noticed a small crowd of curious neighbors gathering, drawn by the unexpected presence of law enforcement. The police officers got out of their vehicles, and Jamal's eyes widened in disbelief when he saw Mrs. Clark step out of one of the police cars. She appeared visibly distressed, her eyes darting nervously as she scanned the surroundings. "Mrs. Clark," Jamal called out, his voice tinged with concern. Her eyes met his, and a flicker of recognition and relief crossed her face. With a look of apprehension, she began to walk towards him, followed closely by the officers. Meanwhile, Jamal's neighbors exchanged whispers, their curiosity piqued by the unfolding drama. Mrs. Washington, who had been observing from her front yard, quickly ushered Aisha and Malik back into the house with a concerned expression before hurrying over to Jamal's side. "Is everything all right?" Jamal asked Mrs. Clark, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. Mrs. Clark's anxiety was palpable as she began to explain her predicament. She recounted that after Jamal had helped her with her TV the previous day, she realized her wallet was missing. Initially, she hoped it was merely misplaced, but despite her thorough search, she couldn't find it anywhere. She had no choice but to ask, did Jamal perhaps find it or, worse, take it? The question hung in the air like a dark, ominous cloud, casting a shadow over the entire scene. Jamal's stomach churned as he processed the accusation. "No, Mrs. Clark, I didn't take your wallet. I swear," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady and sincere. One of the officers stepped in, attempting to diffuse the growing tension. He requested Jamal recount the details of the previous day's events, asking him to describe precisely what happened when he assisted Mrs. Clark. Taking a deep breath to steady himself, Jamal began to narrate the events in meticulous detail. He described how he had arrived at Mrs. Clark's home, fixed her TV, engaged in a brief conversation with her, and then returned home. He emphasized with unwavering honesty that he had not seen her wallet and certainly had not taken it. Mrs. Clark, her voice tinged with disbelief and hurt, looked directly at Jamal and said, "I want to believe you, Jamal. You seemed like such a kind and trustworthy boy, but I can't ignore the fact that my wallet vanished right after you helped me." Jamal's heart sank as he heard these words. He had come over to assist out of genuine kindness, only to find himself accused of theft, a situation he could never have imagined. With a heavy heart and a voice full of conviction, Jamal looked Mrs. Clark straight in the eyes and insisted, "I didn't see or take your wallet. There has to be another explanation." His desperation to clear his name was palpable, but the weight of the accusation bore down heavily on him. If you are still watching this video and find these stories useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The officers, observing the tension in the room, exchanged uneasy glances. "We need to conduct a thorough search of the premises to be completely certain," one of them said, maintaining a professional demeanor. Jamal's mother, though visibly distressed, granted permission for the search to proceed. The search was meticulous. The officers examined every room, scrutinizing every corner and crevice in their quest for the missing wallet. Jamal and his family stood by, their anxiety palpable as they waited. Though they were confident that nothing would be found, the experience of being subjected to such scrutiny was humiliating and distressing. The minutes felt like hours as they endured the officers' methodical search. Eventually, the officers completed their investigation and returned to the living room. "We didn't find anything," one of them reported. "We will continue our investigation and keep you informed of any developments." The incident quickly became the talk of the tight-knit community. Word spread like wildfire, and soon, everyone seemed to have their take on what had transpired between Jamal and Mrs. Clark. Reactions were mixed, and the gossip was unrelenting. Some neighbors, eager to weigh in on the situation, formed their own opinions. Mrs. Peterson, who lived just 2 doors down, was among the first to voice her doubts publicly. "I always thought Jamal was a good kid," she confided to her friend over the fence, her tone laced with suspicion. "But you never really know, do you? It's quite a coincidence that he helps Mrs. Clark, and then her wallet goes missing. It certainly raises questions." The community's divided opinions and whispers only added to Jamal's sense of isolation and frustration. As the days passed, the weight of the accusation and the scrutiny of his neighbors made it increasingly difficult for Jamal to navigate his daily life. However, many in the community stood by Jamal, unwilling to believe that he could be involved in any wrongdoing. Mr. Rodriguez, a retired mechanic who had watched Jamal grow up, was especially firm in his support. "That boy wouldn't hurt a fly," he declared with conviction. "He's always been kind-hearted and respectful. This must be a case of mistaken identity or some kind of misunderstanding." Jamal's friends were equally unwavering in their defense. Marcus, his closest friend, became particularly vocal. "There's no chance Jamal would do something like this," he insisted to anyone who would listen. "He's the most honest person I know. This entire situation is just wrong." At school, the atmosphere was charged with gossip and speculation. Jamal's classmates were divided. Some believed Mrs. Clark's accusation, while others passionately defended Jamal's character. Mrs. Green, his history teacher, took him aside after class. "Jamal," she said, her voice filled with empathy, "I know this must be incredibly tough for you, but I have faith in your integrity. Keep your chin up. The truth will eventually come to light." Despite the support from friends and family, Jamal felt as though he were under constant scrutiny. Every time he walked down the street, he sensed the weight of judgment from those who doubted him. It was a painful reminder of how quickly trust could be shattered and how difficult it could be to rebuild it. One evening, a community meeting was held at the local center to address the recent turmoil involving Jamal and Mrs. Clark. The room was filled with murmurs and tension as residents expressed their opinions. Mrs. Clark, appearing frail and visibly distressed, also attended the meeting. When she stood to speak, her voice wavered slightly as she addressed the crowd. If you are still watching this video and find these stories useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. "I've been a part of this community for a long time," she began, her tone heavy with emotion. "I've always held a deep belief in the goodness of my neighbors. The situation with my wallet has been very upsetting for me, but I want to make it clear that I don't wish to accuse anyone without proper cause. Jamal has always been a respectful young man." Her heartfelt apology did somewhat shift the mood in the room, though the atmosphere remained tense. Mrs. Clark revealed that her wallet had been found. It had been misplaced within her own home. Her face flushed with embarrassment as she extended her sincerest apologies to Jamal and his family, acknowledging the distress her actions had caused. "Jamal, I am so sorry for what happened," she said, her voice laden with regret. "I should have been more cautious and not let my fears get the better of me." Jamal accepted her apology with quiet grace, his demeanor reflecting a maturity beyond his years. Mrs. Washington placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder, and Aisha and Malik, although puzzled by the unfolding events, stood close by their brother, offering their silent support. As time passed, the community began to repair the rifts caused by the incident. Neighbors who had initially harbored doubts about Jamal came forward to extend their apologies and offer their support. Though the process was slow and the journey to restore his reputation was arduous, Jamal's integrity and kindness gradually won back the trust of those around him. The experience had undeniably left a mark, but Jamal remained steadfast in his character, continuing to be the compassionate and diligent young man he had always been. The ordeal had imparted a profound lesson about the intricacies of trust and the complexities of human interactions. Life for Jamal and his family began to stabilize, and the shadows of the past event gradually receded. The incident became a poignant chapter in their lives, one that they would remember not only for the challenges it posed, but also for the strength they discovered in each other. Mrs. Clark continued to reside in the neighborhood, and while the dynamics were altered, there emerged a newfound respect for Jamal's character and resilience. The experience served as a poignant reminder to the community of the importance of kindness, empathy, and the far-reaching impact of their actions. Jamal's story evolved into a narrative of resilience, illustrating the transformative power of truth and the enduring strength found in facing adversity with dignity and courage. As we wrap up today's story, we hope you found inspiration in Jamal's journey from kindness to confrontation and back to understanding. Life can present unexpected challenges, but it's through these trials that we discover our true strength and character. So, what have you learned from Jamal's experience? How has this story impacted your perspective on trust, community, and resilience? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share one thing you've learned and how you plan to bring it into practice in your own life in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Your support helps us continue to bring these meaningful stories to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.